Top 10 Most Extravagant African Presidents of All Time. Hello explorers, welcome back to another informative video presented to you by Display, and thanks for watching. In this video, we shall count down the top 10 most extravagant African presidents of all time. The extravagance of almost all African presidents is very alarming, but these ones add a whole new meaning to the word. Stay to the end to see which head of state not only spends crazily on himself and his family, but also leaves the country as part of his son's inheritance. Without any waste of time, here are the most extravagant African presidents. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Number 10. Muammar Gaddafi, former president of Libya. Besides being termed one of the greatest warlords and threats of all time in Africa, Muammar Gaddafi was also one of the most extravagant ones ever, with a wardrobe that screamed extra to a Miss Universe bodyguard squad. This president left no excesses unspent. A man who was very controversial and highly divisive. He evoked action, passion, supreme adoration from his following, and bitter contempt from his opponents. When all these antics seemed not to feed his huge ego, he went full drive and changing up his fashion style, switching it up even faster than Kim Kardashian can get Instagram likes. He played with the colors and even expensive plastic surgeries. Needless to say, those surgeries were just a waste of money, as the somewhat good-looking president looked less and less than his former self over time. Well, no matter your views of Mr. Gaddafi, no one can refuse how extravagant he was with his looks, security, or beautiful ladies and cars. Number 9. Jean-Bédel Bokassa, former president of CAR. When it comes to extravagance, Bokassa puts the extra in it by being the only to serve both as president and emperor in the same country. Conniving his way into the presidency, Bokassa claims the bourgeois era was over, but little did the world know that he would only redefine the terms. His rule was highly unpredictable, controversial, and stranger by the days. Declaring himself president for life in 1972, it was hard for Bokassa to make up his mind on whether he wanted to be Christian, Muslim, president, or emperor, as the man swapped his position faster than a celebrity could get likes on an Instagram post. In 1977, he crowned himself emperor with the craziest title, but forget the title, it was his regalia, lavish coronation of about $20 million inspired by Napoleon Bonaparte that got the world talking. With a regime characterized by his extravagance, his end came rapidly when he took his advantage and extravagance to the children in 1979, when a large number of elementary school students in the country were arrested and 100 killed for protesting against paying for and wearing the expensive government-required school uniforms with Bokassa's image on them. The massive worldwide press coverage which followed rushed Bokassa to his doom. But no other president could ever be more charismatic as Mr. Bokassa was. Number 8. Mohammed VI, King of Morocco, richest and most fashionable. Mohammed VI came into power after the death of his father, King Hassan, in 1999. According to many sources, the 5th richest king in the world is Mohammed VI, and he is also the richest leader in Africa. With so much money that his grandchildren will ever be able to waste away comes a glamorous lifestyle, and King Mohammed spares no expense when it comes to that. His enormous wealth and fortunes are reflected in his vibrant style of dressing. Even in his international travels, the king is always well dressed, representing his country and people with honor. Talking of travels, he does it deep in extravagance with the most expensive presidential jet in Africa, as the king's Boeing 747 is reportedly around $450 million. His private fleet of cars are all custom made to the king's taste and depicting his style. If extravagant was a person, King Mohammed VI is that person, as he sets the standards on the continent that is literally binding and blinding towards his glitz and glam lifestyle. Number 7. Jacob Zuma, former president of South Africa, biggest wife spoiler. Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, most definitely has some of the best things the world has to offer, but then the statesman decided that he had to go the extra mile when it comes to getting a life partner. He actually went in for 4 wives, and one of the reasons that saw him constantly at odds with his countrymen was the lavish lifestyle offered not only to himself but also his wives, all at the expense of taxpayers. Mr. Zuma is not one to go for the regular diamonds and jewels. No, he goes in deep for the big spending. South Africans were shocked when they uncovered that the state had spent about $550,000 on new cars for his wives over 3 years. To put things into perspective, he even spent about $230,000 from police funds on luxury cars for his VIP wives in just 1 year, despite South Africa's economy struggling to meet up growing targets. We guess the so-called VIP spouses of President Zuma are above the economic struggles of the country, but then, which first lady is not? The controversy around President Zuma's extravagant is not only limited to VIP spousal budgets and their luxury cars. They were in the market for a $2.5 million jet, despite the fact that there was already a presidential jet. Way to go, Mr. Zuma. Number 6. Mswati III, King of Eswatini, the most wives. Speaking of polygamist, next to King Mswati III of Eswatini, Mr. Zuma looks like a baby in diapers. The king of the impoverished kingdom of Eswatini has 15 wives and many other alleged concubines. Talk about a modern Solomon. Mswati III, known for his extravagant lifestyle, has something in common with all the others in this video. Cars, flamboyants, private jets, but wives. He has many more. Despite the widespread misery endured by his people, Mswati III makes no secret for his passion for luxury cars and expensive watches. From treating himself and his clique into a fleet of 19 Rolls-Royce cars and 120 BMWs at the cost of $18 million, to 15 mansions for his wives, and a brand new international airport named after him, despite the fact that Eswatini has few flights, while the country's road network is a shamble. This is probably a few reasons why there has been an insurgence in the country in recent times with calls for democracy. Number 5. Theodoro Obiang Nguema, President of Equatorial Guinea, luxury cars and Michael Jackson glows. Theodoro Obiang Nguema is said to be one of Africa's most brutal leaders of all time, who seized power from his uncle President Francisco Macias Nguema and having him executed. But his long brutal rule, only second to Mr. Paul Biya of Cameroon's, is not the concern here, but his extravagance is. Him and his son, Theodoro Obiang, who he has put into a perfect spot to inherit him after he has turned Equatorial Guinea into a pole to lubricate the extravagant lifestyle. Known for his flamboyant lifestyle, Theodoro is a fugitive from justice, as in October, a French court convicted him in absentia of embezzlement. With properties scattered around the world, including a $29 million mansion in France, 18 luxury cars in France, artworks, private jets, jewelry, expensive designer fashions, dozens of luxury cars in Switzerland, they don't spare the oil-rich country's resources at all. If you think that Obiang lives there, then you don't know this family at all, because they even acquired Michael Jackson's memorabilia. From Mr. Obiang's extravagance, we guess there is no need detailing that of Mr. Obiang Sr. himself. Mr. Theodoro Obiang Nguema and his son are exactly examples of the arrogance most African presidents exhibit in burning down the trust given to them by the people, which has made many to call the family kleptocrats. Number 4. José Eduardo dos Santos, former president of Angola, kleptocrat-in-chief. Talking of kleptocrat leaders, let us head to the kleptocrat-in-chief himself, Mr. José Eduardo dos Santos. José Eduardo dos Santos is an Angolan politician who served as president of Angola from 1979 to 2017. Even before stepping down in 2017, several allegations had surfaced about the statesman and even his family. In the good days of the Dos Santos family, daughter Isabella dos Santos was the richest woman in Africa, while her brother ran the prestigious Bank of Angola. But then several holes began to crack in the president's family wealth. When allegations first surfaced of how the president and his family used the national treasury to enrich themselves, the extent was not yet comprehended. Running multi-million-dollar businesses, living in the expensive lifestyle must have been paid for by the Angolan national money, as evidence now points to heavy shipping of billions of dollars by the family. Number 3. President Muhammadu Buhari, President of Nigeria, the Niger Dicer. President Muhammadu Buhari might not be the most impressive African president by ratings and the court of public opinions, but he has never hidden his love for luxury. Staying in power more than required will be hard for him to pull off like most of his friends on this list. But even so, President Muhammadu still has a way to enjoy his presidency, right to extravagance. With the most impressive motorcade made of a fleet of Mercedes-Benz Maybach S650, which are not only luxuries and comfy for the head of government, he also customized it for his security. The Mercedes S650 is estimated to cost about $160,000 with armor, but for him, it was beefed up to $950,000. The president's Mercedes, which blends in with a fleet of other Mercedes-Benz cars, is surrounded by a fleet of armored and secured Range Rovers, Toyota Land Cruisers and bikes. If you thought that's all the luxury Mr. Buhari knows, then you don't know this ninja president at all. His Boeing 737 called Eagle One contains a master bedroom, washrooms and showers, a conference and dining area and a living area. It is reportedly larger than 3 domestic airlines combined and customized at not less than $100 million. Well, no matter what he does, he better not even think of ruling past his time, because Nigerian people will handle him on that one sharp. Number 2. Ali Bongo of Gabon, President of Gabon. Country inheritance. From a president who cannot turn the country into an inheritance for his son to another country where a country is literally passed down as an inheritance, Gabon. A Christian convert to Islam, Omar Bongo took power 11 months after Iyadema and ruled for nearly 42 years until his death in 2009. He left his son Ali Bongo on Dimba, a fortune worth millions of dollars, and of course the country, yes, Gabon. A few allegedly rigged elections later, Ali Bongo was slapped with a heavy corruption charge, following corruption investigation against his family in 2015. When this happened, the president announced that he would spend his entire inheritance on development projects. But wait, why the sudden philanthropic attempts? And besides, he's spending his inheritance on his inherited country. With wealth including 39 properties and almost a dozen luxury cars in France, many say the Bongos have turned Gabon into a kleptocratic regime. The family evidently strongly denies these allegations, but which African leader have accepted? As if to add salt to an already inflamed wound, Ali Bongo invited football star Lionel Messi in 2015 to lay the first stone at the construction site of a football stadium, which brought Messi a lot of backlash. Given how many similarities Ali Bongo was with his father, we hope he's not preparing Gabon to hand over to one of his sons, along with the large wealth he has amassed for himself. Number 1. Paul Biya, President of Cameroon, Extravagant in Chief. When talking of extravagance, Paul Biya of Cameroon has hit all the necessary check marks, unlike most of his colleagues with a lifestyle that is nothing short of a fairy tale of King Solomon's. Just to set things in perspective, he is not president of the richest country in the world. Cameroon is amongst the poorest nations on earth, and one of those whose economic growth seems to have grown backwards over time instead. How cynic. And one look at its leaders' habits explains everything all at once. A research conducted by African Review ranked Paul Biya as the highest-paid African president of 2021, dragging home almost $630,000 a year, making his salary probably the highest amongst African presidents. Biya, who has been the leader of the country since 1982, wait a second, did you get that right? Oh sure you did, 1982, has been dubbed one of the world's worst dictators. What a title. In 2009, the leader sparked outrage after reports emerged on a 20-day holiday in France, where he spent on an average $35,000 a day, totaling $700,000. Besides earning more than any other African president, Mr. Biya, who has been ruling the country since November 6, 1982, is also one of the current long-serving non-royal heads of state in the world. President Paul Biya is record-breaking, not only for his term, but when it comes to how he travels, his class, money, armored and secured cars still doesn't cut it. President Paul Biya puts the fancy into his motorcade, as Paul Biya has the safest and most luxurious car in Africa. The class-in Rolls-Royce Cullinan SUV limousine estimated to cost millions of dollars. But note, that is but one of his luxurious toys, and with a convoy that is literally out of this world, some call him King of Africa. Hence, if you're looking for lessons on how to live an extravagant life, President Paul Biya's lifestyle is lesson 101. But make sure you have a country to drain in order to pay for your extravagance. There you have it, explorers. Those were the most extravagant African presidents. Is there a president who is supposed to be on this list that we failed to mention? Drop the name in the comments. Let's continue the conversation from there. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.